There are a lot of things pointing to a massive Bitcoin price reversal as we believe Bitcoin has bottomed at $54,500. What are some of the things Bitcoin has going for it to turn this price action around and make new all-time highs? No, the bull market is not over. Germany continues to sell. We have Mt. Gox distribution coming, but again, a lot of bullish indicators for BTC. We're going to talk about that in today's live show. Also, the ETF issuers are back. ETF buyers are back. They bought the dip. Did you buy the dip? We have some Solana news, some RWA news. What has BlackRock been doing over the last 2 months? And what network have they been building on and adding money to? We'll talk about that. We'll look at the markets and what are our favorite picks for this week's price action, some token unlocks, and much, much more in today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go. Your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, and stale information and repackage that thing up in a fun and sexy Sin City, Las Vegas kind of way. You know what?
Big Rob, big haircut, huh?
Big Rob, big haircut. Big
Also,
volatility in Bitcoin over the weekend.
No. Big volatility in the weather. See 120 degrees yesterday?
Was it? It was a little warm. But
Record. Never been as hot. Wow. You know what's about to get really hot? Is Bitcoin.
Yeah?
Yeah. I believe Bitcoin's about to start getting real hot. Now, let's revisit Friday.
This just in. Bitcoin is a hot product.
So let's revisit Friday's show where we all gave our predictions on the price of Bitcoin. And who was right?
You said like 52.
But who's the closest?
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't count those close.
What do you mean it doesn't count? You said 65, you crazy.
I said
You said 60.
So I was like,
So who's closer, 52 or 60?
There is no such a thing as
pretty sure that 60 was closer than 52.
I forgot you're not good at math. So let's talk about some reasons we believe that Bitcoin has potentially bottomed, that we're going to see a reversal in price action. So I want to share this article from Cointelegraph, and we'll break each of these down. 5 bullish arguments that Bitcoin price just bottomed at $53,000, starting with bullish divergence. This is when RSI is trending down or price is trending up, RSI is trending down, or vice versa. We have bullish divergence. In this case, RSI is trending up, price is trending down. That is called a bullish divergence, something technical traders use a lot when they're entering and exiting trades or trying to figure out are we going to see a price reversal. The other thing is a bullish hammer on oversold RSI. And well, what do they mean by this? So there are certain individual candles that could potentially tell you what the traders and investors' sentiment is, what they've been doing, and what we can assume. And one of those is a hammer candle. This essentially is this one right here. Okay, so you have the way the price action works on this is you have price open. Price drops all the way 2 to 3x of what it opened at. And then before the candle closes, price action recovers, the bulls take over, and price closes around where it opened. Now, when you see this pattern or when you see this candle at the bottom of a downtrend, this typically signifies a reversal in the trend. And you can see the trend we've seen since the beginning of June has been to the downside, as we saw Bitcoin go from 71.7, wicking all the way down on this hammer candle to around 53.4. We are seeing a few other things here. We're seeing a spinning top, which shows us that, hey, there's a lot of indecision in the market. I think people are still nervous about the miners, about Germany, about the ETF selling and then everything else. But I think traders and market sentiment, the psychology of traders telling us we should see a reversal in price action. The other one, a couple other things here, Wall Street bets on September rate cut rise. And so Wall Street traders saw a 72% possibility of the United States Federal Reserve cutting interest rates by 25 basis points in the month of September. Now, that is the thesis of a lot of people. I think Robin agrees with that, right? September 1st rate cut?
Yeah.
Or no?
One,
Because we have a July meeting, and then we don't have August, and we have September.
I think so.
I would be very surprised not to see a rate increase,
You mean cut?
or rate cut, excuse me, prior to the election. I think that they're going to see one. You know what? That way, the president can spur some economic activity in the markets, and it just makes sense, right? I mean, historically, also you look at incumbent president when they come to get elected, they do like to get a little bit of spark out of the economy to spur some votes. So yeah, I think so. I mean, you agree, right? What did you see what the CME was saying? on
Yeah,
that?
it's in the article here. So CME is at 72% rate cut
Yeah.
for September.
Okay. So I mean, you can
Right.
you can pretty much pencil that in, right? The CME has been spot on.
Now, of course, we have CPI numbers coming out before the meeting, so this could change. But I think everyone's assuming CPI number headline is going to be lower, although we know that it's not really measuring what we spend our everyday money on. But still, this is what Wall Street and the Federal Reserve and the Treasury and all the bureaucracies use to gauge where to steer the economy. And so these are all things that could potentially work in our favor. Now, two other things in this article, right? So it said 5 catalysts. Here's the other one. Bitcoin ETF investors return after July decline. I mentioned in the beginning of the show that people bought the dip via the ETF. You take a look here at the inflows from Friday. Fidelity brought in $117.4 million of BTC, their highest since June 19th. And I know this doesn't go back prior to June 19th, but this is the highest we've probably seen in about 30 to 40 days. 30.2 million flowed into Bitwise, 11.3 million flowed into ARK, 12.8 million even flowing into the Van Eck product, and 28.6 million flowing out of Grayscale, which brought a cumulative net total to $143 million of inflows into the Bitcoin ETF. We've talked about this ad nauseum as far as what we can expect from the ETF hodlers is an allocation percentage is given, say 3-5%. And as the price of Bitcoin fluctuates, the percentage of how much Bitcoin is in their portfolio also fluctuates. So if you want to maintain whatever that target number is, whether it's 3% or 5%, if the price of Bitcoin dips, you want to buy Bitcoin to bring that back up to 5%. And if it goes up, you want to sell some to bring it back down to 5%. So a lot of people are pointing to that and saying, hey, that is why we believe the ETFs in the long term are going to bring price stability, not price volatility for BTC. But in the meantime, we are definitely seeing more volatility.
And then also, I do want to just say that you also have a lot of potential buyers. So we have damn near $500 million worth of USDC got transferred over to Coinbase Institution. And so you have the wallet receipts here. And so, even though we are seeing Germany selling, you know what? There are also buyers on the other end. And I think that we're about to turn a corner. I think that, maybe it's a Sailor, or you never know, man. Maybe we're starting to see sovereign wealth funds dip their toe into.
What we do know is these people are buying the dip, right?
Yeah.
We can see it happening. We see it on chain. Also, something Forrest pointed out on Friday, $14 billion of potential liquidity is going to be coming from the FTX bankruptcy estate. And this is not being paid back in the tokens. It is being paid back in United States dollars. And so the people, can you imagine this, Robin? Imagine prices are still suppressed or semi-suppressed. We're not at all-time highs, but we're not down at 52,000. We're at like 58 to 64, right? And the people that have had their money locked on the FTX platform for almost 2 years are going to get $14 billion of cash back. What do you think they're going to do with that money? Sure. Will some of them take the money and run? Absolutely. Maybe it was their first shot into crypto, and FTX was the first exchange they used, and they're like, you know what? This thing's not for me. I don't want to take a risk. The majority of people, talk about people with a lot of money, they're crypto native people, and they're going to deploy that capital, we can assume, back into the markets. And if prices are suppressed, on top of everything else that is going to happen, the miners stop capitulating. We have the ETF flows continuing. We have institutions coming in, maybe another nation state. Who knows? All that's going to trickle in. Now we're kind of in this area of some like downward pressure, bad news, right? Mt. Gox, Germany, miners are capitulating. But I think as we turn the corner into August, September, October, and Q3, I think we're going to see the opposite happen. A lot of very bullish narratives. You're going to get the actual narrative and what happens on chain to drive the price up, but you're also going to get these speculators who are going to try to front run that price up, which is going to move the price up again. And so a lot of exciting things happening. So in our opinion, this price decline for Bitcoin is very minimal and short-lived. And then the final one, it's a big one, Robin. U.S. money supply is expanding again.
I'm getting poorer here in the United States.
Probably. This is the M2 money supply.
That's a nice chart.
On the daily. And you can see here, Rob, it has turned the corner since November 30th, slowly ticking back up. Around almost $21 trillion are circulating in the economy with an all-time high of around 21.68. I believe as we re-enter monetary easing and easy money, I put a tweet about, a post out about this on X. I think $25, $30 trillion of money circulating. And if you're smart, which a lot of people who have a lot of money are smart, they're going to realize that, hey, these paper overinflated gains I'm getting from the stock market and from the bond market and wherever else I'm getting these gains, flipping real estate, I'm going to take those gains and those dollars that are being devalued every single year, and I'm going to hold my wealth in commodities, things that don't lose value or don't get devalued by a central entity. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, maybe some other altcoins, maybe something like Ethereum. So I think we're going to see that shift. It's already happening. We're going to continue to see it happening. And we see Michael Saylor is really giving us a show on how to do that, how to leverage crappy debt via the fiat system and then convert that into a hard money asset. You also have Canada's money supply is expanding as well. Can't stop, won't stop. This is from Tom Karadza. Saw this on here. So Canada's M2 money supply is continuing to grow as well. And so 5 bullish indicators, Robin. Any one of these stand out to you? You have the ETF investors, you have the money supply expanding, you have rate cuts, and you have the couple of technical analysis points here. Is there one that really you think could be the main driving force?
You know, what brought the last bear market?
Oh, the last bear market?
Yeah, what kicked off the bear market? It was literally the rate cuts. I mean, the rate hikes, excuse me. And so Bitcoin came off of previous all-time high, over 70,000 within 30 days. Afterwards, we had rate hikes, and we saw the S&P 500 take a sharp downturn. We saw the overall economy slow down. We went into a prolonged bear market, and well, little by little, they kept raising rates, and little by little, Bitcoin kept dropping more and more until we bottomed out. And we are now climbing out of that, and we're about to turn the corner on the rates on the Fed rate that's set right now, and it's about to get cut. And so with the cut, I would expect that the Bitcoin market and crypto markets and, well, just speculative investments, the higher risk ones, I think are going to draw a little bit more attention. Not to mention, you also got the attention from the political landscape, where crypto is right now a controversial topic. And one candidate is coming out and saying, hey, if you're for crypto, vote for me. And so with the spotlight of the election, plus the interest rates coming down, we're going to see, and you see that in the monetary policy where we have a larger money supply and it's expanding. So people are going to have more money. And people are going to be incentivized to borrow because the rates are coming down. I don't think that they're going to have a rate cut and all of a sudden you're going to see $150,000 Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to be dramatic to that point.
In fact, Robin, a lot of economists are saying once we do see, if they cut rates too quickly, we could see a recession.
You think so?
That's what all the economists are saying.
Well, I mean, here's one thing to think about. When the Fed has cut rates quickly in the past, it's been because of some economic turmoil, right? Why did we go to zero interest rate? It was because of COVID, and well, the stock market and Wall Street was about to completely collapse, right? or it would have without any intervention because of how leveraged the system is. And, they cut rates to save the banks, right? Because that's ultimately who was in trouble. And so if we see a situation where we go from 5% interest rate down to 2 or 1, just know that something traumatic has happened with the economy. So I think that barring a black swan event like that, we'll see the interest rate come from 5.5 or 5.25 down to 5, down to 4.5, down to 4. In the same way that we ramped up to where we're at now, I do think that we're going to ratchet out as well. And so I think that's the start, right? I think that's what's going to take us to the next level. I would be very, very curious to see what happens if Trump wins the election, because he's been very vocal on easing interest rates as well. And so if he gets in office, do we go from an environment that's 5% and we drop down to 3.5? What does that mean for the economy? Is that going to basically get us into a recession?
Yeah, and I want to explain, because some people might not understand the direct correlation of the interest rate and why that spurs the economy. You take a look at a bank. If I'm a bank and I can earn 5.5% by just parking my money at the Federal Reserve, why the hell would I lend it out and take that risk, right? And so when they cut interest rates, what they're essentially doing is telling the banks, hey, you ain't getting rate of return here. So you better start lending it out, take that risk, get that 10, 12, 15%, whatever that number is. And then people start borrowing because the interest rates go down, because things get more competitive. You have a plethora of banks that are trying to outcompete each other to lend you money to be able to earn interest off that money, because they're not earning the interest at the Federal Reserve. And so that is the thesis behind the Federal Reserve interest rates. And also, when it comes to treasuries as well, it'll be interesting to see once that yield rate finally reinverts or reverts. I don't know what the correct word is. It is currently inverted. What's the opposite of inverted?
Back to normal.
Back to normal. Thank you.
There it is. Wow.
Rocco's the smartest one in this room. So these are all things to keep an eye on. But just like hiking the rates too fast broke the banking system, I think lowering them too fast could be detrimental as well. Hopefully they learn from their mistakes. Who knows? Potentially. But
cut those rates, man. You know what? I need to refinance my auto loan, my home. Why not? We'll throw that in there. Borrow some money just at 0% or close to it. Lower the rates.
Yeah.
Some Bitcoin.
And I want to share this. And just the next cycle of easy money, right? Devaluing the dollar, or, printing more money. Robin mentioned cutting interest rates. Might be the last one you get without the economy collapsing and hyperinflation running rampant. I suggest you capitalize on it and convert the gains to commodities that will retain their value, like Bitcoin, silver, and gold. So, I mean what I say it. This is something that I'm doing. I remember my dad. He always used to say, son, you always want to have a lot of cash. You want to have a lot of cash in your bank. You want to have cash at home. Cash is king. Cash will no longer be king, because as governments and federal bureaucracies continue to print money and devalue your savings, you're going to be running in a loop that you're never going to get out of. And so what should you do? You should take the paper gains you make from the paper money in the stock market and some of these altcoins and the meme coins, and then ultimately, in the long run, convert it into these commodities, Bitcoin, gold, silver. You're going to be well positioned, and you won't have anything to worry about. No matter what the government decides to do, if they decide to print $500 trillion more dollars, it will not affect you. And so these are things to keep an eye on. Before we move forward anymore, I do want to give a big thank you to today's channel sponsor, CAMS Blue Wire Technology. If you run a business, you want to maximize your networking, IT, and your cybersecurity, there is no better company to help guide you than CAMS Blue Wire Technology. They are our only solo IT internet company partner here at Sin City Crypto. Visit BlueWireTech.com or click the link in the description of this video. With that being said, let's talk about, we have a lot of analysts in our space, some good, some bad. Benjamin Cowen is one of the good ones. Really like Benjamin Cowen. I know, Rob, you met him down in Miami a couple times. Always post that meme of making another Bitcoin dominance video. Anyways, Bitcoin's performance for the rest of 2024 hinges on this historical pattern. And this is what he's talking about from, again, Benjamin Cowan. We talked a lot about the idea of a Bitcoin summer lull well in advance. What happens next? I think what happens in Q4 depends on if Bitcoin can get back above its bull market support band, also known as BMSB, in the next few weeks, or if it holds resistance. You can see here, this band here is what he's talking about. The red and green band says Bitcoin looks to be breaking down below its BMSB in the summer of 2024. So let's see what happened before. And he goes on to show you in 2023, Bitcoin dropped below its BMSB in August, stayed below it for a few weeks here, and then we had our massive rally from 30,000 up to 70K. And so we're seeing something similar here. Could we spend a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks below this band? Sure. As you can see here, and this chart doesn't go back too far, but you can see in bear markets, we have stayed below this band, finally break out. And a lot of people use this as an indicator of, hey, the bull market has started. That's not to say we're not going to see corrections. And you can see here again in 2023, traded below, moved back up, and had a massive rally. In the summer of 2013, bottomed the first week of July, then got back above the 21-week EMA the following week and had another big explosive rally in Q4, as noted here by Mr. Cowan. And so a lot of things are pointing in our favor. And some of the things that are not pointing in our favor is the Germans. Damn it, Germany. German government appears to be speed running the dump of their seized Bitcoin. The quicker, the better, in my opinion. And this is from posted by, from Arkham. The German government sent another 5,200 Bitcoin worth around $300 million to Kraken, Bitstamp, Coinbase, and so on. Right after we posted this tweet, that marks the biggest day for them so far. Over 16,000 Bitcoin total. I'm going to click on this here. They currently hold 23,787 BTC worth around $1.35 billion. Less than half of the Bitcoin originally seized from the movie 2K remains. So they've sold about half. We're down at around 54,000. They sell the other half. You think we'll get down to like 48,000? And what are your thoughts on this whole Germany thing?
I don't think so. Then they're not the thing is they're also not selling this on the order books, or are they? I don't think they are.
I think there's been a lot of back and forth information that I haven't really truly looked at in the on-chain to see, but we saw that they moved the money from the exchange back to the wallet, but then news was that they're not buying. In fact, they're actually brought it back to sell it OTC, and now they're selling it on the order book. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. I have no idea, but we know they're looking to get out of their position.
Yeah, it's very interesting. At some point they're going to reverse course, right? And they're going to be a net buyer, right?
You think so?
I think so. I mean, it's just a matter of when. And I think that
are they smart?
I think that I would say every like modern economy is going to have a position on Bitcoin. Maybe it's not this next couple of years, but fast forward 4-8 years from now, I think so, and maybe even sooner than that. What happens if Trump gets in office and he says, hey, you know what, from an economic position, the U.S. wants to acquire Bitcoin? It sounds a little far-fetched, right? But I mean, the dude said he wants Bitcoin to be made in America. He's going to be a crypto president. And so, hey, you know what? Maybe as part of the Federal Reserve's acquisitions, they know that the Fed holds gold and Treasury. The U.S. government holds bonds, gold, tons of other commodities. We have a large oil reserve as well, and so
not anymore.
Well, but still, we have one of the largest oil reserves as well. Now,
oh, you mean like that we haven't drilled yet?
No, I mean,
in our
as a
reserve.
There's they also own a lot of rights to. So if you look at the economy, how much you look at sovereign wealth funds. Sovereign wealth funds are comprised of a lot of commodities, so oil and gold and things of that nature. And the U.S.'s position is that they have a lot of oil as well and other commodities, and you can look at corn and things like that as well. And that's what makes up, some of the backbone of our economy. It's not just straight gold. The U.S. has a lot of investment, and you know what? Why not have a position on Bitcoin? I think that if Trump is here beating the drum for mining here in the U.S., I don't think
Robin, they
it's
do
that
have a
far-fetched.
position on Bitcoin. They just got to not sell it, right?
They are in the same way that Germany has Bitcoin as well. The
You
same
got
US
it.
has
Don't sell it. You already have it.
But here's the thing. So, but it's still, if you acquire it through seizure and forfeiture, if that's how you got your Bitcoin, it's a vastly different headline than to say that, hey, our country, the United States, is going to be acquiring the same way that El Salvador has. It speaks very, very loud. Now, the countries around the world, they follow suit to what the U.S. does. The U.S. cuts interest rates. Everyone cuts interest rates. The U.S. says, hey, we're going to do a COVID policy, vaccine policy. Everyone, all the other G7 countries, they do the same thing. What do you think is going to happen if the U.S. says, hey, we're going to be acquiring Bitcoin. We're going to be storing it as part of our strategic Federal Reserve? Don't you assume that other countries are going to follow suit in the same way that they do with every other American policy? All of a sudden, you got America saying, hey, we got to go green. We're going solar panels. We're going to change all of our cars. California's, every car in California's got to be 100% electric by 2035. And then all of a sudden, you got France and Germany's, saying the same thing. Like, I'm telling you, dude, if the United States government, particularly the executive branch here, comes in and has a hardline stance on acquiring Bitcoin as part of a strategic reserve for the federal government and the Treasury Department, I mean, I'm telling you, other countries are going to follow suit. That's because what they do. Everyone copycats everyone out here.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Exactly.
I'm just a little worried that if it's the Biden administration that announces that, are we going to be able to figure out what he said? Where's the country has Bitcoin? It's like, what? What do you say? Are they selling it or buying it? I do want to now outside of Bitcoin, there's a lot supposedly supposed to happen this week. One of them, Rob, is the Ethereum ETF. Is it going to go live this week? We know Van Eck officially filed their S1 for their spot Ethereum ETF. Now, we've been lucky to have people like James Seyfried on our show, a Bloomberg ETF analyst, talk about, hey, there's a 19B4 and an S1. The 19B4 is, hey, we want an ETF. The S1 is, hey, this is what the product is. And the SEC approves the S1, then it goes live. They have not approved S1s yet, and it hasn't gone live. We were supposed to get it last week, but because of 4th of July, they pushed it to this week. So come Friday, we can see an Ethereum ETF live on the market. And Robin, taking a look at the price of ETH,
$3,000. Like, if
is this
the
the play of the year?
It's the opportunity
right
of a lifetime right now, honestly. And if you felt like you missed out on certain tokens, like and I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that you buy today and then this thing goes live and then within 10 days you're going to be $1 million. I'm just saying that like from where the market is pricing Ethereum, I think it is grossly undervalued for where it should be. I mean, Bitcoin is relatively close to its previous all-time highs from last bull market, right? Bitcoin's sitting at 56,000. All-time high was at 70. Ethereum, I think, is a little farther off as far as percentage from its previous all-time highs. Previous all-time high was 4,500, 4,800, somewhere in there. And it is not even at $3,000, man. And so smaller market cap generally tends to outperform Bitcoin during a bull market. So we're in a bull market. You have a bullish narrative. You have a surge of liquidity. You're adding the New York Stock Exchange and every professional investor and institution, also available globally, because we know that it's not just U.S. institutions and investors that buy off of Wall Street. Well, pretty much international. And
we also have those amazing commercials from Bitwise.
I just think it's extremely undervalued for the amount of risk that you would take, right? And obviously, more upside on the long-term vision 10 years out on Bitcoin. I don't know about Ethereum's play as far as market dominance as a layer one moving outside of the next 5 years. There's a lot of competition. It's a saturated market. But right now, I mean, I just don't see a scenario that Ethereum doesn't outperform Bitcoin from this point moving forward. And I think you're going to swing and miss if you don't have some exposure to this, right? And I'm not saying go all in on ETH, but if you're going all in on alts, I think you're going to be disappointed. I mean, look at where Bitcoin was at the beginning of the year, or at least 1 year ago, 12 months ago. Bitcoin still sub $20,000, and it's pretty much outperformed 99% of the alts. There are a few exceptions, Solana, Near. There's some other ones in there, but if you were a holder of a lot of these altcoins, like Cardano comes to mind, XRP, Polkadot, Chainlink, they've been outperformed by Bitcoin. And so at the end of the day, you want to secure some of these ones that are going to get you some good returns. And I think that Bitcoin, ETH are really just the two smart plays right now. And I'm leaning a lot more ETH here in the next 12 months as far as performance.
ETH or Solana next 12 months, better performer?
ETH. Yeah. I think that
I don't know.
the ecosystem starts to really rally. I mean, you do have Fire Dancer coming around the corner, and
We have an update on that as well.
yeah, it's in testnet now, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Fire Dancer go
They're doing
live.
$1 million bounty.
Yeah, bug
$1
bounty.
million bucks if you can find a bounty. Because it's so you kind of have to have a massive bounty, because if you're one of these white hat hackers and you find a bug and the bounty's like 50K, you can just find the bug, not say anything, not take the 50K, and then when it goes live, you can extract more than 50K out of the network. And so $1 million bucks to be able to find a bug, get paid $1 million, and not have to do it later as a black hat hacker, steal the money and then face federal prosecution or be a criminal. It makes a lot of sense. And again, we do have an update on that. But before we get into any more news, I do want to go over the market. So I'm going to send it over to Rob. Take a look at the crypto markets and what are some juicy altcoin pickups here, Rob?
Okay, so obviously Bitcoin holding flat at 56,000. You did see a lot of movement over the last 7 days. From 63, we had a lot of volatility over the weekend. We dropped down to 54.
Double bottom there.
Yeah, 54 up to 57. So, which I feel like we're due for another breakout. I don't think that Bitcoin's going to settle in at 56,000. I think that it's either going to break to the upside or downside. I'm about 50-50 on this one right now. I do think that within about a 4 to 6 week period, I do think that we'll be back above, the 65,000 mark. I take into account the Ethereum ETF. But within the next, throughout this week, I'm not sure exactly where Bitcoin's going to go until Friday, but pretty bullish on the whole thing. Now, taking a look at the altcoin markets, so you have Celestia and Bonk up 8% on the 24 hours, Notcoin up 7%. There is so much buzz going on with Telegram. It's very interesting. So if you take a look at the Toncoin, number 8 on the market cap list, it's down 6%. But
Are you kind of in mine and forest camp, Robin, that Toncoin is just at the very least intriguing?
you can't. Here's the thing: you cannot dismiss users and people plugging into the network, right? You can be the biggest hater of Solana ever, but you just see how many people start using Solana and how many transactions they have and TVL and how many dApps there are. And you can hate Toncoin all you want. You can be like, hey, man, their tokenomics are terrible, whatever it is. The whale wallet, the percentage and, the founders, how many tokens they have. I mean, it could be the most dookie project there is. However, if people are using this thing and the Telegram network has got, millions of users. I was about to say they're getting closer to 1 billion users. And if you're going to get even just a fraction of those users to use the network and participate and have Toncoin, you can't dismiss it, man. I mean, hate it or not. I mean, it's going to be a force to reckon with if you onboard the users. I mean, that's just as simple as it is. It's not a U.S. based company, so it's not like the SEC can shut them down. Now, that said, I mean, you look at the 1 year chart on this thing. I mean, it went from $1, it's at $7, and this is relatively recent. From February is at $2, and so just over the span of 5 months, I mean, we've seen this thing absolute explosion. They have the Not Coin game, and so the reason they're even getting these users, they have in-app games that you can use. And so the Not Coin one is the big one, and they also have the Hamster Combat.
Yeah, Rustybot said I'm tapping my hamster right now. Careful with your words, man.
Yeah, so the Hamster Combat, that one's absolutely exploded lately. And if you haven't had a chance to
People
look
actually
at
making money with that.
yeah, man, there's a lot of money being made with that.
But
And
I think that's something Rocco would play. Rocco, have you played Hamster Combat yet?
I don't know what it is really. I'm not familiar with it.
it's a Telegram game you download. It's like it's a card game that you just like farm tokens by like hitting the day. Every day you collect. You tap some button 3 times, and throughout the day, every 6 hours, you can
Good at
refresh
tapping
it, and so there's,
Hmm.
you know,
I don't know.
there's a market for it, and you know what? There's a lot of people that mindlessly just
Why is there a market for it?
no.
No,
I
agree
like
with
the
you, but
step in. You remember the step in one that you have to
Step in, yeah.
walk and
Yeah.
that was actually I liked it.
But the thing is that when I say there's a market for it, there's a market for Web3 games where people are just trying to earn points, right? Or get to the next level or get some achievement. And so you look at Candy Crush or any of these other like games that are on the iOS and Samsung, and they're pretty simple games, right? Anybody can play. You don't need to be an avid gamer. And you're incentivized to do like a couple actions every day, and so you get on, you do a couple actions. It's the same thing for this, and so the Hamster Combat, you're incentivized to get on there, do a couple actions every day, and then you're rewarded in the token, which is growing in value, and so you're earning money. And then especially if you live in an economy that is not in a first world nation, and you're living below your means, so you're making a couple $100 a month from salary, to make $50 a month or $100 a month from simply playing a Android game and just tapping collect tokens or whatever it is, and then accruing value by just holding the native tokens. It's very interesting. And
Robin, I'm gonna point out a comment by Miguel. Said I'm spending a lot of time on Telegram because of games airdrops mining.
Yeah.
And that's just
what's
one
hot.
person.
It's what hot and trending. And so yeah, when you go to the Telegram, they have like there's a list of games. There's like hundreds of games on.
And they have a native app in Telegram where you can just prompt the wallet and it has everything set up for you, and you need the ton coin.
Yeah, I was looking at, I was checking it out. You can just literally just scroll through and it's game. So I mean, a lot of them are just things that are just randomly launched really quickly and just ported over from an iOS or Android game. And so, they're not like natively developed. I'll just say this. I think it's a sneak peek of what's to come from the Web3 gaming space, right? So imagine when there is actually a good game, because I mean, that Hamster Combat's really, it's lackluster, right? It's just, you just have a picture of a hamster on a card, and then you're just kind of like, there's really no combat. There's no graphics there. It's just, it looks like a clean UI. It's a very simple game. But when you get something that is interactive, fun to play, draws in a community, you play against your friends or whatever it is, you have some leaderboard and you have lots of people going against each other. And then once you have that game that people will play, once you have that Plants vs. Zombies, that Candy Crush, that Angry Birds, that Flappy Bird style of game where it already is just fun to play. People are just addicted to it. And then on top of it, you're giving them rewards as far as a native token that they're earning money on. I mean, how many more people would have stayed playing, and how many more people would they have onboarded if Candy Crush gave you tokens every single time you unlock the level or you beat a level? Yeah. It would be, they would have probably grown tenfold. And so once we get one of those games, and maybe it's one of these large studios that do it, maybe it was one of these established studios that come out with a game, but I'm telling you, it's just a flash in the pan.
We know our friend Rob from Digital Asset News, they kind of took over Flappy Bird, the IP rights, and so they're doing something with Flappy Bird and blockchain gaming.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm always like, once my thing is once a trend is kind of past, it's hard to revive it, right? It's like, Halo at one point was the most popular game. 007 at one
People
point
still
was,
play Mario.
yeah, but they never really fell off, right? Here's the thing: 007 was the number one game, period, right, for first person shooter. Now nobody plays 007. That franchise is dead. Halo was next, and now that franchise is not really where it used to be. The same thing for Mortal Kombat, and the list goes on and on. There are a couple exceptions. So for me, I don't know, man. I like Rob from Digital Asset. I wish him the best. I don't know, man. I just think that when it comes to gaming, it's usually some fresh new game that comes in and gets the craze. Eventually, Roblox and Fortnite will die or at least fade. And yeah,
What about Flappy Hamsters?
Flappy Hamsters. Yeah, good deal.
I want to give a big shout out and a congratulations to our friend Billy as his book went live on Amazon. Billy Goat Tales. We bought 3 copies yesterday. We're gonna do a giveaway on the show once we get him here. Super excited for this. If you follow Billy, he's been part of our community. He's a personal friend of ours, an absolutely amazing human being. So if you want to support Crypto Billy, I can't tell you how many content creators and people he's supported, but I will drop this link in the chat. And if you want to buy a book, whether it's for you, for your kids, for your grandkids, for a friend, whatever it is, support the people that are doing great things in our space. And so Billy is one of those people. Billy, congratulations, my friend. Great job. Excited to get this and read it. So my kids read it as well. So with that being said, let's move on. Are we done with the markets, by the way?
Yeah. I mean, there's really not too much. There's a little bit of green, a little bit of red. Paints a beautiful picture, No, a lot of volatility.
Robin, how'd you become such a top tier analyst?
The meme coins are leading the list though. Bonk is at 7% up. Then you got Brett and Dog with Hat both down 6%. Brett is down 33, but Dog with Hat down 27%. Maybe it's a good pickup, or maybe something to keep an eye out. So we know that when Bitcoin rebounds, Dog with Hat is usually one of the top performers. So, yeah, maybe a swing trade position there on that one.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about this. So remember that Sob 121 vote that the House passed? But they passed something, and Joe Biden said
going up for veto.
It already got vetoed.
Or it's going up for
revote.
Revote.
Yeah. Well, they're going to need a 2/3 majority to overturn the veto of President Biden. Are they going to get it? Probably not. I don't know, but something interesting. So this is obviously important to not only the politicians, but to the banks, which pay the politicians. They're seeing all the money that is being made in crypto, in custodial services. You take a look at the amount of money that Coinbase makes, Robin, off of their custodial services, their institutional services, the spreads they take money on, their membership fees. They're like, we want a piece of this pie.
You think you could see Bank of America or JP Morgan or Wells Fargo just custody Bitcoin for institutions the same way that Coinbase does?
I don't know. I think Coinbase has grabbed,
because I always assume that if banks got into it, it would be retail driven.
Okay, let me ask
custody.
Let me ask you this question, Robin. Let's say a year from now. Okay, it's been a year. BlackRock and all the people that use Coinbase, no issues. Everything's been perfect. Here comes Bank of America. Say, hey, we also custody Bitcoin.
I think.
You think they're going to make that switch?
I think it's for the markets. I think it's a smart idea, right? I mean, here's the thing. If I were to tell you hypothetically before the ETS went live and said, hey, look, you know what? You're going to have 11 Bitcoin ETFs, right? And 10 of them are going to use, or 9 of them are going to use Coinbase. And of the 9 that use Coinbase, it's going to be, the top 3 are going to use Coinbase. And so the largest aggregation of Bitcoin outside of Satoshi's wallet is going to be held in one facility or one provider. And so for me, I just look at it from a perspective of a vulnerability point, right? And so for me, I always like to disperse vulnerability, right? You don't want to have too much risk in one spot. And the same way that you have miners set up globally and different nations, and I would say the same thing when it comes to, hey, the largest wallet is held by one company. I think that introducing.
So you think they're gonna?
I don't know if they will. I mean, but I'm just saying, I think it's a good idea. Don't you find it somewhat concerning that Coinbase holds all of the Bitcoin for 9 out of the 12 ETF providers? And
yeah, I mean,
and the 3 biggest are.
I personally trust Coinbase, but
I mean, but here's the thing: anything can happen, right? I mean, what happens if they have an internal issue with someone, or they have some kind of compromised security? Now, I know the chances of it are minute. I mean, even if the chances are 0.01 or 0.001, by having 3 different custodial agents for the ETFs, you turn that 0.01 and you make it, and you increase it by a factor of 3. So 3 to the power 0.01, you're really making it that much more difficult for any kind of compromise to the network, right? And then not to mention, I mean, if you have one company, I know that Coinbase has had a pretty hardline stance against federal regulation, but I mean, I'd rather there be more companies, so that way, if say the nation state were to say, hey, look, you know what, you're gonna need to hand over our Bitcoin, I'd rather it be in multiple places.
That's a very good point.
I'm just saying that, like, I don't like the centralization of anything.
I agree.
That's the whole premise. And so
I agree. My reason for asking the question was, do you think that if things are going good, companies like BlackRock, like Fidelity are going to feel?
I think they're going to feel the same exact way. They're not going to want to have everything in one provider, even if it's not, doesn't have to be all or nothing. I mean, you can have the likes of BlackRock say, hey, you know what? We're going to put 30% of our Bitcoin with
or like
Coinbase.
Moving forward.
30%. Yeah, we'll put 30% here, diversify our, or reduce our vulnerability from 1 point of failure to 3, essentially. And, if you have a bank that comes in and they're custodying crypto for retail and hedge funds or whatever it is, or for institutional clients.
And if it's a big boy like JP Morgan.
You just imagine JP Morgan's offering Bitcoin custodial services for its clients. So let's just say, I have a checking account, I have a retirement account, I have a crypto account. JP Morgan is custodying my crypto themselves. Then they already have the procedure and the policy in place for custodial services. So why wouldn't they expand to institutional grade services that are found in the ETFs? I mean, I think it's a natural progression, and I welcome it. I think it's a good idea, as I mentioned, with all the points I was making earlier.
Yeah, I like the point of, anything can happen. Keys get lost. People do dumb stuff, right? Or the fact that you brought up that, hey, if a government entity comes to you and says, we need all your Bitcoin, I'd
rather have 5 people that can push back and be like, hey, this is unconstitutional.
Although I don't think any of them will push back, but chances of maybe 1 or 2 of them, I agree. Because that's always been one of my biggest fears with the ETFs, and they're growing in the amount of Bitcoin that they hold, is that if Bitcoin starts to challenge the dominance of the United States dollar, don't think for a second these governments wouldn't come to these ETF, these custodians, and say, due to national security interests, we need you to hand over all the Bitcoin and we will give you the dollar amount in return to give to your customers. They did it with gold. They outlawed gold, buying gold, and then eventually we got off of the gold standard completely. Don't think for a second that cannot happen, which is why we always think it's worth it to understand, learn, and self-custody your own Bitcoin. Let's give an update on Solana and FireDancer. This is from Cantaloupe Peel, one of the developers of FireDancer. We are currently working on and actively testing our first versions of the Solana consensus and fork choice algorithms. We are also working on live voting and various other little bits around that. Millions of slots of execution have been tested and match the Solana protocol. Differential fuzz testing is happening all across the runtime, from the SBPF ELF loader to the native program execution. First version of FireDancer goes into its first bug bounty soon, July 10th. And I did mention this is a $1 million bug bounty. But you already knew that because you were reading the commits, right? We're reading the commits. We're not reading the commits. But if you want to read the commits, here it is: GitHub/FireDancer/IO. We talk about the importance of FireDancer. Essentially, if it all goes the way that they say it's going to go, we could potentially never see another Solana outage due to DDoS attacks, which is what brought the network down every single time, pretty much. So pretty bullish on that. Also pretty bullish on RWA. You can see here, posted by Crypto Town Hall. Institutional money powers through crypto slump. BlackRock's BUIDL program nears $500 million. Launched in March with Securitize, BUIDL already owns 30% of the market. Take a look here from RWA.xyz. You can see here as far as U.S. treasuries that are being tokenized, $1.8 billion of value, up around 2% over the last 7 days. You can see here, Ondo. Ondo is leading, $495 million. And Ondo has ties to BlackRock, not just a, hey, we took a BlackRock fund and tokenized it. No, they are actively part of the BlackRock BUIDL program. They are working with BlackRock, which is why Ondo is one of, if not our top RWA play, along with Chainlink and Ethereum as well. You can see here their BUIDL program, almost $500 million in market cap. And I want you to see, and this is just treasuries. This doesn't include global bonds, stable coins, private credit, commodities, just treasuries that are being tokenized. Ethereum, Polygon, Ethereum, also Solana, Polygon, Ethereum base, Ethereum. You get the point. Ethereum, on top of the ETF, on top of being the largest smart contract platform in the world, on top of having the largest virtual machine in the world, on top of the transactions it does, these are things you need to keep an eye on. Where is big money moving? And they're moving on chain, and they're moving into the Ethereum ecosystem. So big news there. Any thoughts on that, Rob?
No, not really.
What's your thoughts on Ondo?
You know what?
I mean, Rob, Ondo, I think, is a steal. It's under $1.
I mean, you can't fight BlackRock, right? I mean, the largest company globally, right? I mean,
92 cents, bro. This is a steal.
You could say that. Okay, Apple and Nvidia, Microsoft, they're always vying for who's the number one. Throw Tesla in the mix, whatever. But at the end of the day, who's the most dominant company, right? The most dominant company's got to be BlackRock, right? Their stock might not be top, number 3, but their control of money.
Stock, man.
That's what I'm saying.
$10 trillion.
Their control of money and what they represent, and power, and the top of the rung when it comes to financial company. They're the ones that run the world, right? They run the global economy, or at least they pull the strings. And if they're all in on this, and we're not like paying, you're not paying attention.
Pay attention.
BlackRock is gone all in on Ethereum. BlackRock has gone all in on Ondo. BlackRock's gone all in on tokenizing real world assets through the BUIDL, or what was it? What is it?
BUIDL.
And so,
like HODL, HODL, build.
It's going. This is just at the infant state. Wait till it actually starts getting used. Wait till they're because you believe they're going to execute, right? Right. I know when I say like execute, yeah, they're going to execute. So Larry Fink has come out and said, "Hey, we are going to tokenize everything, or at least we're going to tokenize.
They're building
bonds.
A stock exchange.
They're gonna tokenize bonds. They're going to tokenize.
They're literally building a stock exchange.
Yeah, and people are going to use it. They're going to execute. They're going to have a market for it. They're going to have users for it, and they're going to have a crap ton of money running through the blockchain. And that's just the reality of it. And so if you try to ignore it and be like, well, I don't really believe in BlackRock, well, good luck with that.
RWA or AI, which one do you think has the bigger narrative this cycle?
I still think AI.
Really?
So much going on in AI. And the only reason I say I think that RWA, these real world assets, this is infrastructure they're building, right? And so I do think infrastructure takes time. I'm very bullish on it.
I think you're wrong. I think the infrastructure is there.
It's there, but it's going to take a while to convert over one system to the other. I mean, when we went from checks to credit cards, it was a decades long process,
You
right?
think AI is going to
And I think, yeah, 100%. AI is exploding. I mean, a year ago, you had just the introduction of ChatGPT. Now we have the introduction of everything is using AI. And so for us to go from Wall Street to tokenized assets trading, that's going to take some time. And so for me, which one comes first? It's AI by a mile. I did want to, there's some interesting buzz going on in the Twitter land here. And so we've got some breaking news. So you got Charles Hoskinson here. So I pulled this up. He has a little meme here. But Katie Bieber, she's history has been made. Crypto is officially a GOP platform. Republicans will end Democrats. Anyways, where is this coming from? So if you take a look, you have Bitcoin news here. And so this is 2024 Republican Party platform has came out with this statement here. And if you go down, we're going to scroll down. This part here is highlighted in red down here. So they even have an entire segment on their press release here for Republicans will end Democrats' unlawful and un-American crypto crackdown and oppose the creation of central bank digital currency. They will defend the right to mine Bitcoin, ensure that every American has the right to self-custody for their digital assets, and transact free from government surveillance and control. This is from the GOP. This is from the Republican Party. And so I feel like they are drawing a line in the sand and they're saying, hey, we're going to defend crypto. The Democrats are out here trying to destroy it. And so, hey, it's pretty big, man. This is shots fired, right?
It's like, you're single and you got 2-3 hot girls fighting over you. It's pretty cool, man. Probably don't know how that feels, but guys, that'll do it for today's show. We hope you enjoy the content. We got a Near Protocol video coming out with the market downturn. What is our updated price prediction and outlook on Near Protocol? You're going to want to watch that video. That comes out in exactly 1 hour from now. So if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe and ping your notification bell. With that being said, Rocco. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We love you guys. I hope you had a great 4th of July. I hope you have all your fingers left on your hands. Didn't do anything stupid. Come back tomorrow. We got Magic and Money joining us. We'll talk more crypto. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.
Oh, you should have blown that fingers from your finger off.
Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya, to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.